big change or success is largely driven by habits, smaller habits that build up over time. So what are your kind of key habits? Do you mind sharing some of your habits are?
Yeah. So in the book Choose to Win, I write about it. I call it the perfect start. And so every day I start the day with a routine, and it goes through a process. Some of it's, I call it 2 chairs from my friend Bob Bodine. There's 2 chairs, one for me, one for God. And I say, God, do you know what's going on? Are you big enough to handle it? What's the plan? So those 3 questions, I listen, and then I read and study, and then I plan the day, and whatever the major project is, I get focused on that. But that's the routine. Somebody asked me, they said, what was Zig Ziglar's #1 key to success? What made him Zig Ziglar? Okay. And there's 100 things, but this guy wanted one thing. And so for over 40 years, this is what he did. For over 40 years, he spent 2 to 3 hours at the beginning of the day before everything got started, reading, research, and learning from books and authors, studying God's word, new information that he would simplify and internalize for the sole motivation of sharing it for someone else's benefit.
Love it.
And so the power habit I would tell people is, what if for 1 year, all you did was 5 minutes, first thing in the morning, you read or learned something new, you internalized it and simplified it, and then you shared that with just one other person that you cared about and loved for their benefit.
Well, you've just cued we to lead into a T. Didn't he, guys? And that's
Absolutely.
essentially our mission. And both Steve here, it's funny, both Steves are the final ones at the end of the call, and came very into E to Lead early, and are huge ambassadors of what we're doing. And it's driven by that is the habit of acquiring just a bit of knowledge, just a bit of learning through a blink, which is what we choose, but however your source, and then sharing it with each other, and you're layering that with your experience and insight. And that sharing is so powerful, isn't it? How you can, as a result of your interpretation of some information, which everyone's is different, can fundamentally influence someone else's paradigm, which can be a quantum shift for them. I find that fascinating and so rewarding. And then back to your point, doing something with it, some action taking. Sorry, yep. I had to get that in there because I just thought that was Perfect. Just such a good tee up. You just you set me up.
I'll tell you something about books. When they moved from their house to a retirement community, I had to take his library of 3,000 books.
Wow.
And move it down to about 300 because they just didn't have the space where they were going. And so I was like, how am I going to do that? And I started flipping through the books, and then I started seeing where his thoughts and his speeches and everything were created from the underlines. So I only saved the books that had underlinings in them. And so now for when you get a powerful book, and I like Audible and I like listening, but when you really get a significant book that has a lot of things in it that you really believe in, I recommend to people, this is a legacy, intentional legacy. Get the hard copy, underline it, and then put the names of the people in your family, your kids, your whoever, and say, hey, this made me think of you. Put their name right there in the book, because all of our texts are going to go away. Emails are going to, but a book with a note in it saying, hey, you really live out this principle, and I'm so glad that you're my son. I mean, that's
can I share something?
Yeah, go on.
Because what you just said there absolutely is there was a piece of inspiration in the Born to Win, which was there was a short story around the three chaps that are performing, you know, the same task, and you know, they get asked, what are you doing? And the first guy says, I'm splitting rocks. I think that was the second guy says, what are you doing? He says, I'm earning a paycheck. And the third guy is asked, what are you doing? And he says, I'm building a cathedral. And that was just so powerful. And at the moment, I'm really desperately trying to lose weight and trying to get myself fit and healthy. And if I kind of draw that story into my own world, it's, you know, just losing weight isn't enough. Losing weight to fit into a nice pair of trousers, yeah, that's kind of getting there. But losing weight to see my grandkids grow up, that's the building of the cathedral sort of moment. So absolutely, in the hard copy of the book, I will seek that out, because my daughter, that's why I'm doing it. You know, yeah, it's for me. Yeah, I want to live longer, but I want to see my grandkids grow up. That's my cathedral.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So I have a Tom Ziglar quote for you. What you feed your mind determines your appetite. And that's literal and figurative.
Yeah.
And so the way I lost 60 pounds was reading everything I could on health and nutrition, queuing into magazine articles and stuff like that. And it changed my appetite. It literally changed my appetite as I began to understand what foods do to your body when it's the right kind of food, and what it does to your body if it's the wrong kind of food, what sleep does, what exercise does, all those things. So that's where we choose our input. So
yeah,
you can almost lose weight imperceptibly if you're constantly putting information in your mind that leads you to that healthy outcome to the benefit of your grandkids.
Yeah,
that's right. There was a book I was reading the other day that had the quote, muscle is built in the gym, fat is lost in the kitchen. And that was the big light bulb moment of, yeah, okay, I get it now.